Dragon Ball games are secretly in trouble. Here's how I can prove it. Something many haven't talked about in the anime gaming community is the severe lack of new Dragon Ball content. Now, our last new piece of content for Dragon Ball was Daima. Before this was Dragon Ball Super Superhero. And now, considering that the manga does not get used in games, Dragon Ball is in a drought. You know the spot that Naruto was in after the series ended and we all thought Boruto was going to be the saving son? Yeah, it's in that spot. Dragon Ball doesn't have a new anime, a severe lack of new content. If you guys remember back in like 2007 after Budokai Tenkaichi 3 came out, every game that came out just couldn't touch it. There was nothing Bandai could do that was different to get people to buy the games in masses. There was nothing they could add to get people interested. They tried to redo the BT3 via Rage and Blast and just people wasn't fucking with it in the same regard. We get to Ultimate Tenkaichi, I swear Bandai gaslighted themselves so much thinking that people did not like hard games that they made an easy ass game. It was the worst Dragon Ball game to fucking come out. Dragon Ball games are in a drought. Why do you think the DLC rollouts have been slow for games such as Kakarot and Xenoverse 2? We got Daima Part 1 and they said don't expect the second part until way later. You really think it would take them 20 fucking years just to come out with the second part? No. And Xenoverse 2, that's a money laundering scheme at this point, bro. You're literally sending your money to the fucking company so they can reprocess that money for elsewhere. You're supporting trash! A lack of new content means Bandai has to become very unique with how they go about games. If you guys notice, that's why we got The Breakers as game. And then they came out with the Squadra game, which surprisingly is doing very well. I've heard nothing but good things. People are enjoying it. If you like MOBA games, you're gonna like that game. Bandai has been looking for a repeatable content format, something that people can play constantly. They'll buy the characters, the DLC, the drops and stuff, and they can make money. They did it with My Hero. They somehow are kind of doing it with Naruto Shinobi Striker, and they were kind of doing it with Xenoverse. They have to be able to make money passively like that because there's nothing brand new. This type of game, they could be like, we're introducing Kabba, and you're like, yeah, because you already like the format. With the other games, they can't drop another Sparking Zero and get you hyped in the same way as you were before. What new stuff are they gonna introduce? They added Kagi Films in the game. People were like shit talking. Why the fuck they add Kagi? Why do you add him? I know his name's not Kagi, shut up. But they added Bro into the game and people were complaining. Repeatable content format that doesn't need never before seen characters to games is what Bandai wants. If they can make a game that can make them a shit ton of money and they don't have to rely on the newest anime shit, that's good for them, and I guess that's good for us too, until we realize this was a problem that happened before. History is slowly repeating itself. Again, I mentioned 2007, right? If Sparking Zero is roughly the same as BT3, we're gonna get maybe one or two more Fire S type of anime games for Dragon Ball, and we're going to go into a severe drought. Whatever is happening over with the Dragon Ball IP that's preventing the anime from returning, the manga doesn't really affect this. The manga can come back tomorrow and we still have this issue. We're essentially repeating history. In the mid-late 2000s, Dragon Ball games were some of the worst anime games. Naruto was overtaking this shit. It sounds crazy that just like a million or two, that's low for Dragon Ball games. They was barely getting to a million with some games. I don't even think Rage and Blast got past a million. Rage and Blast 2 couldn't even get to it around that time. So it's essentially becoming a rinse and repeat and nothing new but battle systems and unique battle like games. In this Squadra game, it might be cool. Are we gonna see Bandai do anything more unique with the Dragon Ball IP? Let's say if we got a Dynasty Warriors game for Dragon Ball, are people going to be hyped for that? Are they gonna play it, or are they gonna shit talk and be like, nah, we don't want Pirate Warriors Dragon Ball Edition? You might be saying, well, maybe Xenoverse 3 would solve this problem, but it wouldn't. Xenoverse 3 would have the problem still. No new characters, sure, new characters to that game, but no new character stories means that they can't really go off of something. Just look at Xenoverse 2. They added Brawly and the green bitch. Come on, bro. They could have been added that from years ago. They added that in some people are excited for that. This shit ain't gonna make them money, which is why they're slowing down how often they update these games and shit. If Xenoverse was making them a shit ton of money, they'd be a little faster, but even then, they still have the licensing problem. They still have a severe lack of new shit they could do. They have to become more creative. Around that time when Dragon Ball games are having trouble, back in like 2009, roughly to 2015, what happened in 2013? Dragon Ball came back. We got the movie Battle of Gods, Battle of Z, had Beerus, Whis, and then 2015, Xenoverse. What did Xenoverse lead with? Battle of God shit. You saw Beerus, and then you got Super Saiyan God 2 because of Revival of F movie with Golden Frieza. That stuff carried the Dragon Ball games and got people willing to buy these games. And then every game that released on consoles afterwards had Dragon Ball Super shit, the relevant stuff. One of the reasons why Xenoverse 2 was so successful is because Dragon Ball Super and the hype around it. Same thing with Fighters and all that shit. Take away all the new shit and just make it pure just Dragon Ball. Just go back to 2009. You think Fighters would have worked in 2010? Highly doubt it. I don't think it would have worked in 2010. The anime shit is needed. New is always better. Bandai knows it, and they realize that the Dragon Ball game side of things would have crumbled. Now, the Dragon Ball IP still would have made them money, but in the game side of things, it would have just crumbled if it wasn't for the return of Dragon Ball anime. Xenoverse is often regarded as the game that kind of restored faith in the anime games for Dragon Ball, but in truth, it was because of the two waves of Dragon Ball movies, eventual Broly movie, and even superhero that anime games for Dragon Ball has been riding off on. Now, how can this problem be fixed? It can't be fixed. The only solution is that the Dragon Ball anime comes back. If we suddenly could get content for what's happening in the Super manga, then yeah, there would be more shit. You would have two brand spanking new arcs with a decent amount of characters that you can implement into a video game, which would then be unique enough to get people hyped. But until the anime returns for Dragon Ball, we're just repeating history that happened over 20 years ago.